everyone, welcome. I am super excited to interview today someone that we're going to be talking a lot about the new way of selling inside of community. And I think that right now we are moving away from a push kind of marketing into kind of a community and pull marketing way to connect. So connect, community, and collaboration, I think, is the future of 2025 in all marketing. So I'm super excited to bring to you Mark Mawhinney. Did I say that right?
You got her. That's good.
I've
heard it all. I've heard McWhinney. There's not even a C in the last name. Mahoney, whatever. Yeah, but you got it. Very good.
I got it. Okay. Well, Heather Havenwood and Mark Mawhinney. We have the HHM going. Thanks for being here, Mark. I want to share with everyone a little bit about who you are to get the kind of context. So Mark Mawhinney is a lifelong entrepreneur who's been helping coaches get more clients without paid ads since 2014. He's the host of Natural Born Coaches podcast and the Coaching Jungle Facebook group. That is, you call it the Tarzan. I was like, what's the Tarzan? But I just saw that. It makes sense, right? The Tarzan of the Coaching Jungle Facebook group with over 27,000 members. Very big feat. And it's one thing that I feel like I missed on is groups. I never really went down that road. And I saw yours grow and some other people in our industry really just kill it. And my question to you is to kind of jumpstart into this is, am I too late? Am I too late to jumpstart into creating groups on Facebook or another platform?
What's a Chinese proverb? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So actually, fun fact just popped in my head too, but today's the 11-year anniversary of my coaching business. I started in March 2014, so I'm celebrating with you. But I mentioned that because I launched my podcast in November of 2014, so a little later in my first year.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I was late to the party for podcasting because I had learned through John Lee Dumas and Kate, they had their Podcasters Paradise community. And I'm like, oh man, like John's lucky he started a couple of years ago. I'm late to the party in 2014. And here for podcasting, here we are over a decade later. And I try to convince people to start podcasts or say Facebook groups. Oh, no, I'm too late. No, you're not late at all.
No, I appreciate you saying that. I'm a big believer in podcasts as well. And, but it was one thing I never did. And part of it, believe it or not, I'm just going to share my frustration or insecurity around it. Maybe you can help us through it. It's like, you have a great name. And I'm always like, oh, I don't have the right name.
I assume you mean the Facebook group, not my last name, because Mawhinney wouldn't be my first choice.
No, the Facebook group. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a great name. And you told me a long time ago, how you got that name. I still remember that podcast that I interviewed you years ago. But my question to you is, does the name really matter that much? Or can you just kind of go into that? Is it just all about the name?
I mean, the name matters, but probably not as much as people think it does. So
okay.
As long as your target market knows what the group is. So with the Coaching Jungle, if someone stumbles across it, they're not going to assume, oh, it's a group for dentists or for stay-at-home moms or for MLM type things. It's clearly for coaches. So I always recommend that you pick something that gets a point across and draws your ideal client in, and not try to get too cute, which I feel like sometimes people do. They want to make it super unique. But I mean, a name can't kill a good idea. And this it applies to the Facebook groups, but I'm thinking of podcasting in particular. I don't know if you know David Ralph in the UK. He's a host of Join Up Dots. So David's show is super successful. I think he's done more episodes than me. And looking at it, you think, gee, what's this, an arts and craft podcast? Join Up Dots. What the heck's Join Up Dots? It's referring to the Steve Jobs commencement speech or whatever, where he's talking about you can look to your background or your experience and join up the dots of all those experiences. So he was able to get past, I won't say a bad name, but I think it's kind of a confusing name where it is. And so you're kind of tying one hand behind your back if you make it a name that's not really easy to understand who the group's for.
Yeah, I agree with that. The other day I was watching the news and I was looking at the names of the shows, and believe it or not, they're pretty, blah, 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 prime time, blah, 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 the focus, blah, 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 blah. We got you. It's just like, at the end of the day, it's like you just align with something of that nature where people understand what they're subscribing to. The one that I think that never really made sense to me was the Joe Rogan podcast, like the Rogan Experience, because he's just the brand, like the Rogan Experience. Like, what is the Rogan Experience? Well, it makes sense if you know his last name, right? But like InfoWars with Alex Jones. I mean, InfoWars, like his whole thing is about information wars. It has been like that for 20 years. And then he's moved into his brand. But then you look at big names like just throwing some other people like Oprah, Tucker Carlson, where it's just their name. And so I think some people get like really intimidated, like, well, my name doesn't mean anything. Then you have like the Daily Wire or Call Her Daddy, you know, kind of things like that, where it's like, oh, I'm subscribing to this mission, right? And
Yeah.
it's a big, that's, I mean, what do you think of that? I'm just curious.
Unless you're a big name, I wouldn't name your Facebook group or your community with your name. Now it works for Joe Rogan, Oprah, or, you know, all these other ones because they're celebrity, they have celebrity brand. I've seen Facebook friends of mine have invited me into their groups, and I'm just using another name. I'm not friends with a Joe Smith that I'm aware of, but it's like Joe Smith's world or Joe Smith's community. It's like, okay. So I don't recommend putting your name in the title of the Facebook group, but I do recommend that you have your name and your face very prominent in the group. So for example, if you go into the coaching jungle, the banner is a very nice AI generated one. I have to thank Kay Wagner from the group because she did it up. And that's where the Tarzan comes from. It's me swinging on a vine. With 6-pack abs, it's much easier with AI. I don't have to go to the gym or whatever. We'll just, okay, there we go. But so it's clear anyone going in there, it has Mark Mooney right in the banner. And it's not that I'm the only person posting in there. I'm encouraging others to engage. I want them to take part in it. But you don't want to set up a community. You spend hundreds of hours every year in the community, and then no one knows you're actually the leader in there. And that's going to make it very difficult to monetize it and so on. So I wouldn't put your name in the title of the community, but I would definitely make sure that your name and face is, well, visibility is good inside the group.
Well, I love how you do the community. Just some other community. I'm obviously part of other communities, and I feel like yours is very active. And it's like I'm there because I am a coach or consultant. So other people there are coach consultants. You have a VIP program where people pay. I'm one of those where we pay. There's a whole structure to that. And the reason why I really like that, I'm going to ask you, like, how did you get to that? It's because like there's some other groups I'm a part of. This is not a diss to them. I think what I really like about the group is the name Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. It's 800,000 people in Women Helping Women Facebook group. I mean, it's wow. But what happens, I think, in my experience of being in the group, it's so much. I mean, it's literally like a lot. It's a lot. I feel like there's women entrepreneurs, which is a pretty so broad that can just go into many miles, versus like the coaching. They're all obviously entrepreneurs, but there's a nice niche to that. And 27,000 is it's a nice group. It's not 800,000 where you get really lost. You can actually really connect. So I don't know if that was your goal or not, but you walk us through like your VIP program and why did you start that and how's it going so far?
I have a running joke with my brother, so I have to say this to him. It was his idea for the VIP perk. So Matt, if you're watching this, there you go. He doesn't want credit, but he'll rib me a little bit. So in a nutshell, last summer, he threw it out there, and I wasn't aware of Christina's, hers, I think she calls Spotlight or whatever. It's a similar type of program where
it's very similar.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of Christina's until I decided to launch this. And then John Omler, who's in Christina's one, that's what, women helping or women entrepreneurs or whatever, they do it like that. Then I just kind of asked her, how do they set it up? So Matt gave me the idea and he said, hey, why don't you just do this option? Because I have JV packages, but they're not cheap, with it. And it gives another level for people to get involved with the community, get posting perks.
Right.
So I should probably step back for anyone who doesn't know what we mean by VIP is for the first, almost 10 years that the group was running, we never allowed anyone to promote on the wall, any of the members. They had to keep those posts inside the Promotion Friday thread, the theme day thread. And we would delete anything else, calls to action on the wall. Unless I was doing a JV with someone, they could do it during that week. With the VIP perk, they pay, it's $97 a month, $970 a year. And they can post, as you know, you're a VIP.
Yeah.
Once a week, they can put an offer on the wall. Now, they often post other days of the week with value posts, we'll say, to keep their name and face in front of people. But it's really ballooned from what it started with last summer. There's still the posting perk, but we're doing 2 networking meetings a month, and I might be bumping that up actually because people are getting so much value with those breakout rooms and the networking. The people get expert status in the group. I laugh. Yeah. It's a little spiffy blue badge, which sounds silly, but I do think there's credibility there. We're the only experts out of the VIPs. And there's other perks for reasonable amounts. So someone who's, let's say, doing Facebook ads and they're just not getting the results that they like, or ads elsewhere or whatever, here's a way that you can reach over 27,000 potential clients if you have something that's of value to coaches, of course, for peanuts, a couple bucks a day, basically.
So where do you think that line is of someone who wants to start a group right now? And where's that line to say, okay, I want to move this into a community where then I could do something similar? I mean, you already 27,000, that's a lot. Where do you think that line is?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Obviously, if you have 500 people in your Facebook group, that's probably too small to do that type of perk. Although, with a smallish group, if you have a couple thousand people, maybe you have it a little bit lower. I don't know with Christina's group, if she charges a couple hundred a month. I don't know. Well, I've heard it was like 200 or 300, but she also has almost 1 million members in her group.
Yeah. It's a lot, but I think one of the things that I love about your group is that you get us on a call. Like, I've met so many amazing people of the VIPs that, we're in like doing conversations with each other. And it kind of just lets that next level of like people who are free and people who are paying. It's like, I know that we're in the same wavelength, that we're paying to actually add value. So I think it's really interesting. And I haven't seen that before in another program.
Well, the interesting thing, we have roughly 75 VIPs in there now. And actually we've got a few more here in the last week, so it could be a little higher. With the networking, what I've been really excited about is VIPs are hiring each other. So I know Sterling Ballantyne's copywriter, he's gotten a couple of clients just from the VIPs who've hired him. I believe Neil Stringer has as well. We have just all these success stories. So they're hiring each other, or they're giving referrals. Maybe they're getting on each other's podcasts. They're doing JVs, affiliate type stuff, which is really interesting. So I was thinking at first that people will be solely interested in the posting perk to reach 27,000 plus members, but I'm finding that people are just as happy with the networking side of it. So it's a little more, I will say, if someone sets up something like this, I have to throw cold water on people who are interested, because there are some who join that expect to throw one post up and make $1 million. And I have had a few people who've joined and they didn't even do for that month a weekly post every week. They might have done 1 or 2 posts, never showed up on a networking meeting, never did any of the other stuff. And like anything online, it'd be nice if we could just put up a post and make a bunch of money, but you often have to do some more stuff with it. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I do want to caveat that. I know that when I started with VIP and some other things, I had to start to really play my Facebook game a little differently. I even went to ChatGPT and asked, like, what's the best way to post in a way that's not like, here's my event. Like, what's the best way? And I had to kind of restructure my posting, right? Believe it or not. It's especially Facebook groups. A lot of that, what I'm seeing is going what I call the post, the curious post, or, hey, I have this thing. It's 5 ways on how to DM me, or in the comments, put the word play and I'll like message you, or I'll send you the link. And what that does in the group, they're all coaches. They all want to get clients on some level. What that does is have people raise their hand. It's like, oh, I'm interested.
That's a conversation going.
Yeah, and it builds that conversation. Yeah. And you'd think that I would know all that, but I had to really change my game, and I'm still changing my game because a Facebook group post is not a Facebook ad, right? A Facebook ad is get my thing, click on the link, or go to my event, like that. But a Facebook group post is very different.
Yeah, and there are some people in the group, and they're not VIP. Some of them are, some aren't, who've confessed to me, like sheepishly when we're on a Zoom call or whatever, hey, Mark, I've gotten quite a few clients from your group, and it's almost like they're embarrassed. I'm like, hey, don't be ashamed. That's great. You give good content in there. But the way that they do it is, and I mean, Mike McMahon comes to mind. He does it the right way. Instead of just spamming the wall and putting up like it's a home shopping network, like sell, Mike goes in and looks at the posts down the group wall all people asking questions, and he gives sincere, genuine answers
Yeah.
with it. And he's not even saying, reach out to me if you have any more questions. They naturally do that because he's so good in the comments in giving sincere help with no expectation of getting anything back in return. And that's the way it should be with groups. So you have to handle it a little bit differently. And I feel like it's also changed the last few years. Group reach is down a little bit from speaking with other group owners of all sizes. So you have to get a little bit, roll up your sleeves and do more work, I guess, to get the sales.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you, I know you're in Facebook. Have you ever looked at school or used any other platform?
Yeah, I went to school for 12 years. I'm just joking. Bad joke. School, anyone who doesn't know, it's a platform, SKOOL. I have looked at school. Honestly, I'm launching a new program now, a paid program, and it's hosted elsewhere. And not to knock school. I wasn't sold completely on it. The way that I view it is I like Facebook for free groups because everybody's living on Facebook. They're there. But when it comes to, I'm experimenting with my paid program off of Facebook for a couple of reasons. First off, Facebook groups aren't the best if you're loading your video resources, stuff like that.
No.
People may not see everything, and they're also distracted because they've got the notifications hitting them from their all over the place when they're on Facebook. With the Natural Born Coach program I just launched here this month, it's going to be on Member Up. We're going with real slick platform. I like it. It's user friendly and it's got some options like gamification things. I want to get people off of Facebook and consuming the resources and engaging with each other over there. And we'll see. But I do know people that do their paid programs on Facebook, and who knows, maybe I will end up moving it over there. But right now I want to go the other way. So I like free for Facebook for free and then off of Facebook for paid. Because the other thing too is Facebook groups, if someone's paying $5,000 for a program or whatever, and you're saying, oh, there's Facebook groups, like, well, la-di-da, I'm in 300 groups. It's not very special. If it's here, it's off platform. You have to log in here, and it feels a little bit more special, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've been looking at the Go High Level big groups for paid. I agree with you. I think free for Facebook and then paid. I looked at school myself. The challenge I saw with school as $100 a month every month, especially for free. You know, I was like, but even if for paid, Go High Level is like mimicking school.
Yeah,
I'm already paying an agency level of Go High Level. Why add another $100?
I think with school, if you're connecting it with the checkout and stuff, you're capped at $5,000 a year. Is that right? You can only charge $5,000, I believe.
I don't know that.
Okay. Someone could correct me. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a school expert, but I think you're capped at $5,000. Now there's workarounds that you could do to get if your program's higher, but that is restrictive. And also what I found with school is it was a lot of school communities, but making money on school communities, and a lot of the bro entrepreneurs. I'm not going to say douchepreneurs because there's good people on there. I'm in a few school groups to support clients of mine and things, and they're great people. But I do feel like it's a little bit of the nose strip wearing, Alex Hormozy type, that, 5 years ago might have been, or 10 years ago might have been Ty Lopez fans or whatever. And they're just jumping on because of that. And almost feels a little bit, I hate to say pyramid scheme because that makes it sound like that, but it seems like it's people just doing things for the school games to get up that leaderboard and all that other stuff. And I'm like, I'm not into that. So that's where I'm going with Member Up. I had Amy Sangster, Ross Johnson, then they reached out to me and said, hey, can you test it out? And I actually went in and did a test drive. And I asked myself, just like anything, the name of the game is what gets best results for your clients, but also the client experience. And my experience as a client or someone in a school groups wasn't as good as what I feel like it could be over on Member Up. I'm like, this is really very easy to use. This is what I would want to use if I purchased a program over on Member Up. And so it's that's the thing online, everyone, it's peer pressure. 5 years ago, it was, oh, you got to get in Clubhouse. Oh my God, Clubhouse is the next big thing or whatever. Now Clubhouse is dead. You got to get here. You got to go here. It's like, no, I don't. I'm going to go over here.
I haven't looked at Member Up. That's interesting. And I think it is really key about the experience for the client. That's a really important part. I know that I'm part of a lot of different things. And if I have a hard time going into the group, or if I don't know something happened, like for instance, for a while, I was part of a nice mastermind and their group, the private group was on Facebook, and I didn't like that. I was like, God, we're paying this money. Can we just have our own stuff? So, but that's a mental mindset for me for sure. So, okay, real quickly, where do you see things going? I feel like you have a kind of a touch on what's really going on in the coaching business because of Natural Born Coaches as well as the Coaching Jungle. And where are we at today in that industry? Can you just talk to that?
I mean, I don't think this is anything earth shattering. I've heard other people talk about this as well, but 2025 and going forward, I feel like the consumer is very skeptical. They've been burned by bad coaching programs. They also don't want to, they will sometimes, but they're paying a lot of money. They don't want to just, okay, I can watch videos, but there's no access to the person who's running the program. So when I launched my Natural Born Coach program, which is just starting up, I was very clear that I want to make sure that I'm still actively involved in calls. There's, support calls, they have email access to me and so on. Now, some people might say, well, that's stupid, Mark, because, how far can you scale it if you're having to worry about, answering people on calls and stuff, and doing the calls or emails, and that could change. You get help down the road with it. But I don't want to be one of the ones that, oh yeah, we have a support call, and then there's 300, 400 people on the call and one hot seat for 5 minutes with one of them. In my mind, that's not much of a support call with it. So I feel like that's a trend in the coaching space that people are like, hey, I don't want a DIY. I want at least the person who I paid 5-10 grand to know my name. Often if you pay that much, you reach out to a person, they don't know who you are and they don't care. They've been paid, and that's not good either. My program's got a, they have access to it as long as it's running. I don't want to say lifetime, because when I'm 85, knock on wood, I reach that age, I don't think I'll be doing coaching calls, but they have access to those resources forever. And then every time I'm creating new programs, I'm moving it under that umbrella for the Natural Born Coach program, so they can get access to. I have, my daily email system program. I have a JV one around joint ventures. I have a Facebook group gold one for community, a podcasting one to show them how to start and monetize a podcast, so they can choose their own adventure there. But the days of, okay, pay 5-10 grand and here's a few videos and good luck, I think that's over.
I agree with you. There was, you and I shared this privately, or I shared it with you, that there was a program I was a part of during 2020, 2021. And the fee was around $15,000. The program was great. And then I connected with everyone in the group. I really felt bonded. And when the year was up, we all wanted to stay and just kind of be part of the alumni. And they wanted to charge us again for $15K. And I started down that road, and within 6 months, I'm like, I really need to pull those resources to use for some other things. And so I told them that, and they got very angry, and they actually, I no longer had access to the videos I already paid 15 grand for that first year. And I was like, okay, I paid 50. I got that I don't have access to the group anymore. It's totally fine. But I did pay for that first year of all those, calls. And they're like, nope, you're not paying the second year.
It's strange, because I could see them doing, if there's a renewal fee maybe, but significantly less than 15,000 for year two.
Right? I really thought, so this is something conversation. Like, I think those days are not over. I think when someone pays a very high ticket for a program for, let's say, 15,000, 20,000, then if like they have all the courses and they want to stay in the community as alumni, having another fee, but maybe lower, just to stay in the community and support them. Because what was happening was, as the alumni, I was, of course, in breakout rooms helping the other people, right?
You're an ambassador.
I was an ambassador, and I'm like, okay, so I'm now helping your people and you're charging me the same. And that was like, it was crazy. And so I think those days are really over. And so I encourage people, as I think about it, today's knowledge is not why people stay and buy something. They want the knowledge for speed, but I think people stay and they want things are community connection, collaboration, because that is the value. That's my experience. People want the value of connecting with other people of like minds who are going through the same experiences, or maybe they can help other people. I think that is the new value system than just the mentor or the coach. Like, I really think it's the connection.
Yeah, I'm big on runways now too, because like you, I've done it all, like group coaching programs, masterminds, and so on.
Yeah.
With group coaching programs, what I felt was always a limitation with a cohort style. It starts on March the 1st and it ends on June the 1st. And I was finding that people there was so much in there. They're like, it was great, Mark, but I didn't get this part done and I need to do this. And so I went to 6 months, and 6 months sounds like a long time. 6 months can fly by very quickly. If we look back, what was 6 months ago? Somewhere around early fall, probably, or September, October, which it really isn't that long ago from now. And that's why when I set up my program, I wanted it to have, if they want to tackle stuff 2-3 years down the road, they still have access to things in there so they can do that.
Yeah, I think that's really important for people to know about the new business. We used to have what I call a knowledge world. We were selling knowledge. Well, now with where we're at today, knowledge is everywhere. So what are people buying? What's that value? And I feel like that you've done a great job of community connection, collaboration with the Coaching Jungle. That's why I asked, like, I'm now looking at a Facebook group. I just kind of launched mine last week. I haven't talked about it. I haven't emailed it yet. But that's a big piece for 2025 is creating that community. And I think it's really important.
Go for it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
You can add me. I usually, or invite me. Usually I don't. I'm trying to call my number of Facebook groups because like everyone, you can get into a couple hundred of them very easily, but definitely shoot me an invite when it's ready.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think what happens is, as someone who's been around a long time, I get in my head, right? We all do, like, oh my God, I should have started that forever ago. Oh, I should have started my YouTube. But at the end of the day, we're at where we're at. And it's really about the value and the connection. I just want to encourage that to everyone here. So, all right, just want to shift it a little bit. So you have some amazing things going on. What are some things that you're releasing or letting go and kind of shifting in your business and life?
I'm just adjusting that's going to bug me, this light and the height there. What am I letting go of? Let me see. This may not, well, it kind of is letting go. One of the things I'm doing, I just started using the Brick app, not the Brick furniture store, and I won't get into a whole commercial for the Brick, but basically it's a little gray box and there's an app for it. And the whole point of it is to eliminate the distracting apps that you mindlessly just grab your phone. It's like instinct. And if you're in the grocery store lineup or wherever, and you go on there, and I have about 7 offending apps that are bricked up most of the day. So when my mind or my finger just goes over to hit it, then I get notified. It's like grayed out and it says this is a distraction. It's bricked. So if I want to unbrick my phone and access those apps, I have to get up, go from my office out to the fridge because it's a magnetized little box, and hold my phone up against the box, and then it'll open those apps. And that's because I was like everyone struggling with the phone. It was, and you don't even realize it. It's not like I was spending 10 hours a day on my screen, but it was probably 5, which is too much. I'll never be 20 minutes because you have to use your phone. But the reason I like the Brick app is you can still use stuff on your phone. It's just bricking up those problem apps, Facebook, Instagram, email, perhaps. If I go in, I want to check my calendar, I want to check the weather, my photos, I can still do that. And that's very important. So
mine is X.
Yeah.
Mine's X. I go down this rabbit hole for an hour and I'm like, what did I just do with that hour? That was not a good idea.
They're designed to be sticky. They want to keep you in there. That's when they're making the most money. And we're going to look back 20, 30, 50 years. People will say, what were they thinking with these phones? Yeah. We haven't seen the full impact yet with social media and apps and technology. So that's one thing I'm letting go of is the need to be on the screen as much. I think another thing that I say letting go of is trying to relax more. Like you, I'm sure every spare minute, I feel like I could be doing something work related. And instead just sitting down with a good book, as much as I like reading, I'll often sit down. It might be 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And then there's the siren call from my home office with the laptop. That's the little voice in my head. Mark, don't be a lazy piece of crap. Get in there and get working. And then you're doing it till midnight, which isn't healthy. So I have gotten better at putting limitations and hard stops on work. And the other thing that's helped is I keep, for the most part, I've cheated a few times, I keep my laptop in my home office. It's not in the living room or elsewhere in the bedroom. It's there in the home office. So work is in the office, and then I'm done. I get finished what I had to do, close it, and bang, I'm out of there. You have to have those, because if not, I could work 24/7 and easily justify it.
Oh, completely. I'm very big about my bedroom has no TV, not it's like just the bedroom, and I leave my phone. Like, it's a big thing. You have to do those kinds of things when you're an entrepreneur. If not, you could literally live on the computer 24/7.
I'm jealous. My father's generation and stuff worked 9 to 5. They would never think to be taking calls in the evenings or whatever. They
would come home at 5. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, what?
Exactly. And now we're, for better or worse, there's some good things with it, with accessibility. But as entrepreneurs, especially, I think this is going to be a big issue going forward. And a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling mental health, depression, addiction, everything else, because they're on all the time. They're just go, go, go.
Yeah.
And there's a guilt if you're not working. And I have gotten better with it. I still have some work to do, ironically. Some work on it.
There was a guy years ago that I dated, and he worked for the oil business. He was in the oil business. He worked for a big oil company. He went to work at 9 and he was home at 5:30, like clockwork. And then he was off, like in his brain, he was off. And I was like, how do you do that? You know, but like, that was his industry. Like, well, it's 5:30. Like, no one in my business is up, and like, it'll be there tomorrow at 8 or whatever.
Well, what's interesting with COVID was the fear when everyone got sent home to work in spring of 2020. Employers were worried that the employees would be stealing time because they'd be watching Netflix, going out for a walk, doing other stuff instead of actually working. Studies have shown that it's gone the other way, that people work more now when they're at home, because suddenly evenings and night they're doing work, and it's eliminated those barriers. The lines have been blurred. I know there's governments around the world that are starting to put in legislation where employers can't contact employees off hours to try to get more work from them, to squeeze it out. So it's a balancing act. I get where the employers are coming from. That would have been my thought too, if someone's working from home. But I look at me, I work from home, and I work probably a lot more hours than if I was working in an office somewhere.
Yeah, I work really well at home. I've always been really good at that. So it's interesting. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who's handling it. Thanks for sharing so many what you're releasing. I think that we are going through a big change, even though we don't have the word C anymore, the COVID world. I do think business has changed, entrepreneurship has changed, and value has changed. Even though platforms are still kind of the same, I think people are seeking different things. And that's why I wanted to have you on today, is really just kind of highlight what are the things that you're hearing in the coaching business, and some people in the private calls that you're having, without names, of course. Like, what's the energy of the coaching business today? I just saw an ad by someone who said, you know, the coaching business is exploding. I have a hard time with believing that. Maybe that's because I've been in the business for so long. My dad started a coaching business in 1999, for God's sake. So I've been around the coaching business for a really long time. But what say you about that? Is it exploding, or is it just shifting?
Well, you and I have talked off air, and a lot of coaches have spoken with me. They may not admit it publicly, but the market has tightened in the last couple of years. I started to notice a shift probably late 2022, 23, 24, and it's continued into 25, where people are, well, first off, the consumer is more skeptical, which is probably a good thing, because pre-2020, there were a lot of fly-by-night people making these huge, outrageous promises, and they were getting some people to pay them a lot of money with it. So it's good that the market's more educated and cynical, but I've found that they're holding onto their wallets a little tighter. I've heard a story often. I'll speak with someone, they're like, Mark, I want to do your program, but I was in one last year that cost $15,000 and it just was nothing there. And I'm recovering from that. So it's almost the same as if you're starting to date someone and in their past, they've had a string of bad relationships where they've been cheated on by every single guy. Then they bring it into this relationship, and you got to try to assure them, hey, look, you know, you don't have to go through my phone. I'm not cheating, but it's just they've been stung from the past. So I don't want to also say that nobody's buying, because I think that's a cop-out. If a coach isn't doing well, okay, well, it's a bad market. No, there's still a lot of people who are spending money. Just there has been a shift in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that not what they buy, it's how they buy are changing, and the programs of just only pushing that high ticket, because there's some people that I remember in 2020 2021 who are pushing some really big programs, and I don't know where they just like disappeared off the planet. They're
gone. They're witness relocation or witness protection, I guess. But I'm hearing some across the board when it comes to webinar registrants, attendees. people opting in for certain things. It's just they're not getting the same type numbers that they got, and you could understand why in a way. In 2020, suddenly everyone was home, and they had, quote, free money from government. There's never free money from government, but they had this, government giving the money when they're at home. So like, okay, well, I'm going to invest in this program, and I can do it from my laptop and go from there. And now we've come out of that period, and it's a little different. There's inflation's crazy, cost of living. I know you're in the States, I'm in Canada, but I would say in Canada, the average household, the cost of living is probably $2,000 to $3,000 more a month for nothing extra. If you're looking at just food, gas, housing costs or whatever, and that's for absolutely nothing. So people are cranky, and they have a right to be cranky. I heard on Facebook the other day, I'm in a Facebook group from my neighborhood, and there were kids egging a house a few minutes away down the road, and I thought, are these kids like very wealthy? Like, who's throwing eggs at houses in 2025? That's not cheap.
Well, I may or may not have done that when I was 10. But nowadays, exactly, eggs used to be something. Who cares? But that's
in March in Canada, like, it's not Halloween night. It's still winter. Like, who eggs a house or a subdivision in friggin' March in Canada?
But that's interesting. So an extra $2,000 a month, is that US dollars? Is that Canadian?
Well, I'm thinking Canadian. So 2,000 Canadians, about $150 US with our exchange rate. No, it's not that bad.
Is it that bad?
No, I'm exaggerating. Okay. It's going that route. No, generally speaking, 1,000 US, you're probably looking 1,300 Canadian for every 1,000 I get paid, because I charge in US. So that's one positive. But when I pay out, if I'm hiring a service in the States, I hired a coach back in December. I definitely felt it because the exchange was going the other way, and I was paying American dollars. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, if you guys just become the 51st state.
I bought my flags. We're all ready to go. I got I'm learning the Star Spangled Banner and everything else. So we'll see. But what I say, because a lot of people up here are complaining about tariffs and getting all riled up, people who are in business, and whether it be inflation, cost of living, tariffs, whatever, you never want to rely on politicians to improve your life, because you're going to be so disappointed. You're better off if you're, instead of posting 5 times a day about tariffs and Trump and everything else, is why not put that energy into your business to outrun inflation and tariffs? So instead of, it's going to cost me more for peanut butter, and oh my gosh, whatever is going to cost more. Okay, there's going to be costs there. But if you put that energy into your business, you're suddenly making an extra $5,000 a month. You're outrunning those tariffs and things. I think people are nuts in 2025 on both sides of the border. I have had to mute so many people, but I look at, and it was even before the tariff thing with Canadians. I'm like, Trump is not, we're Canadian. We don't even vote, like, don't get so riled up, or at least don't have a mental breakdown on social media if you're an entrepreneur, and then all of a sudden expect people to be hiring you and paying you a lot of money for your services when you can't regulate your emotions and you're having a mental breakdown 5 times a day on Facebook. Yeah, you'll get engagement, you'll get some shares, and you'll feel like, okay, this is great. You get that hit of dopamine. People don't want to work with that type. They might give you a sympathy. Yeah, orange man bad, or tariffs, elbows up Canada, but they're not going to hire you for their business. So focus on your business.
Oh my God, such good advice.
It's both sides too, by the way.
It's both sides.
I'm picking on the left, but I know a lot of conservatives that spend their days, anyone whose whole personality is politics, I don't want to do business with. You got to mix it up. No, and true, I haven't, I'm breaking my rule now. It's been a little over 2 weeks since I posted about politics. I don't consider this purely political.
No, we're just talking about where our focus is on.
Yeah, a couple weekends ago, I posted on a Saturday, and then it was a waste of time just with fighting with people and everything. I was like, this is stupid.
Right.
So as much as, I enjoy politics, it's interesting. I'm like, nah, screw it. It's been great the last 2 weeks. I don't have to fight with strangers on the internet.
So I did something quite fascinating about a month ago. I went through my credit cards and started canceling all kinds of crazy monthly stuff like Netflix and things like that. And I canceled actually full cable. And I can't watch any of the, the news stations or whatever. So it's been so freeing, because all that time and focus is focused now back into my business and how I could serve. That's really my goal, and I think that's what you're saying. As entrepreneurs, we have freedom, but sometimes we have to really look at what is that freedom? Where are we going to put our energy, and what you focus on expands?
Yeah. You want someone who doesn't know you, if they look at your social media, whichever platform, Facebook or whatever, you want them to be able to know within a few seconds that, hey, this is what you do for your business.
Right.
If they look and they tell that you hate a politician, or, you know, this politician's Hitler and it's all that stuff, but they can't tell what your business is, that's a problem. Unless you're a political pundit, if you want to get into that.
I tell people all the time, especially when they start their own podcasts, I was like, unless you're going to be a political pundit, like that is your business, do not post anything politically. If you're a coach or consultant, want to add value in a niche, in whatever that niche is, be a trainer, you need to stay apolitical online completely. I believe that, because things change too much. Right. It's just changed. And I made the mistake in 2016, 17. I posted who I was for and who I was against. And in 2019 or 20, around that time, I was in conversations to be hired by someone at a very nice price. And they said, we want to hire you. But the problem is we went back and we saw this post and like, we're against that person. And it was like, wow, you know, noted. It's not worth it. It was not worth it, because I knew that I could help her business, and she ended up hiring me, but it was definitely a clear.
If you could tie it into your business, I'm not going to say I never talk politics. Anyone who follows my stuff would say, wait a minute, Mark, you posted, but I'll give you an example. I've often posted in support of capitalism, and I can work with people if they're, if they have issues with capitalism, because it's not perfect, but it beats the alternative. But if it's a full-blown communist or a person is tweeting eat the rich and they hate anyone that has money, and they got really messed up views on that, and they're just complaining all day long about capitalism, then we're not going to work well together, and it's not going to be a good fit. Right. So I do that to repel people. So if someone looks, oh my geez, Mark posted a pro-capitalism meme or whatever, okay, well, that's good, that did the job with it. And that could go for both sides as well. I don't mind different opinions and stuff, but if it's someone who's and personal tax, that's another thing where entrepreneurs get tripped up if they're getting into fights, and then it's one thing if it's I like having a good debate if people stick to the issues and it doesn't get personal, but once it veers off into that, that's not good. So you could use it strategically to drive away people who aren't a fit for you, regardless of what side you are on the issues. It's very difficult to do that.
What's your take on the community? If someone starts going really political in the community, do you just say, hey, no politics here?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. We've deleted a few political posts since the U.S. election, although less than I expected with it. So I remember someone years ago, they tried to wrap it up into a value post. He said, I'm paraphrasing this, it was during the Trump-Russiagate hearings and stuff. Was that the one Adam Schiff was doing? Yeah.
I think so.
So he said, he posted, hey guys, I don't want to make this a political post, but given how masterful Adam Schiff has done, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just all the, talking points from his side, and that we deleted. Cause I'm like, I don't feel like me or my team moderating that for the next 5 days. Sometimes we've had posts reported that have been religious. Somebody would post maybe a biblical quote and stuff. And I always look at the intent with things like that, because we've had different religions post in there for things related to business, and there's been Muslim posts and things like that. So those aren't bad. But yeah, if somebody put a post up today and said on whichever side, just something bashing a certain politician, we probably delete it, because it's not adding anything to the community, really.
Yeah, I think that's a key piece. I just wanted to get your take on that for people who are going, hey, I really want to start a community. What's your take on?
It's your community and your rules. So if you want to do that, you're willing to moderate it. I have a team members in there 40 hours a week moderating stuff, and I don't want her to have to worry about getting caught up in the dumpster fire that is U.S. politics at the moment. So
we have a way of doing that over here.
It's very entertaining, I'm like the Michael Jackson popcorn gif, where he's just eating the popcorn.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, like
your politics are much more interesting than ours. Canadian, you get the parliamentary type thing, and it's got like a British vibe to it. But U.S. politics, it is entertaining.
It's pure entertainment. It's awesome and not at the same time. So thank you so much, Mark, for this. It's been really highlighting about the coaching business and the future of it. Where is it going? Are we too late to create community? And just giving us you've done a great job of just showing us some kind of tactics that you're using in communities. And I really appreciate you being on here today, because it shows that, one, myself included, it's not too late to start a community. Two, the value really is community connection, collaboration, as well as an advertising play, right? If someone's like, hey, I'm not getting the results I need for ads, or I can't do ads for whatever reason, it's a great way to add value and to attract your right clients. So thanks for that. Anything else, last words you want to share for wrap up?
No, the only thing I'd say with your community is you want to be showing up there every day and active in it, because if you're not active in your community, then why should anyone else be?
Yeah.
But I already touched on this earlier. You also don't want it to be, okay, this is like my toy box and no one can play with the toys, right? Where you're just gripping onto it. I've been in communities like that before, where it's only the group owner who can post, basically, and they don't last really long, or they're not doing much. So I willingly bring people into conversations. I'll tag people. If someone's asking an AI related question, tag Heather Havenwood, because I know, she can answer it. That's not my specialty. So you want to be active, but you also want to encourage other people to be active and take more of an abundant approach, collaborative, as opposed to, oh, it's all competition and I don't want to let them take my clients. I have to keep everyone here, my potential clients. That usually doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. I do get those notifications. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for being on the show today and just having a deep conversation. And make sure that you go to the Coaching Jungle. It's a Facebook group, and go check out Mark on Facebook. He is there live and well. Just don't text him at 10 p.m. And Mark, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to be part of the VIP.